Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode. So today's game is a title that started on the PS1 and I enjoyed a lot when I was a kid. It mainly was a PlayStation game from PS1 to PS2, and then it shifted to Xbox, GameCube, and then eventually came out for 360 and PS3. That game is Medal of Honor. Much like all my other reviews, I do want to take a look back and see what made the game fun, but also what made the game difficult and some of the things that I liked as well as did not like about the game. But I also want to tell you about some of the inspirations that this game had for other series, and one very huge game that was an inspiration of this game as well. So with that being said, let's take a trip back to 1999. Medal of Honor was released on the PlayStation 1 back in 1999, where the series would remain exclusive until about 2003, when Electronic Arts made the series multi-platform, going from the PlayStation, PlayStation 2, to GameCube, Xbox, basically multi-platform being on all three of the major consoles at the time. The series would start development in 1997 though at DreamWorks Interactive and would be published by Electronic Arts, as I mentioned before. And now I get it, yes, Electronic Arts is not the best these days, but back then they were making some very solid titles. They had great games like the Medal of Honor series, the 007 series, Need for Speed, Road Rash, heck, even Madden was great back then from what I hear. Yeah, now they're kind of we won't talk about them too much though. The game was actually inspired by GoldenEye, which many people might not know. And I mentioned this in my GoldenEye episode, but director Steven Spielberg, who is famous for movies such as Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park, E.T., and Saving Private Ryan, was watching his son play the game one time, and he thought, you know, this is a good idea. We could actually make a game like this, set it in World War II, because at the time he was working on Saving Private Ryan. So it made a lot of sense to put the two together, make a game similar to the movie that he's making, and it really does feel a lot like a movie. And I might be having a Mandela effect on this one, but I recall reading somewhere that Medal of Honor did start as a movie and then transitioned into a game, but I'm not sure how true that is. So if anybody has any facts on that or any knowledge of that, please let me know, because I am drawing a blank on that one, and I recall reading it somewhere, but I could be very, very wrong on that one. The game really does feel like a history lesson though, and it's better to explain more of that in the gameplay. So with that being said, let's take a look at some gameplay, discuss the good and the bad, and see if it's worth playing this game today and if you should check it out for yourself. The gameplay is your standard 90s first-person shooter, with missions being broken up into about 3 or 4 levels, each level having multiple objectives, about 2 or 3 objectives, but as you complete the objectives, more objectives pop up on the screen. So let's say you find a downed plane in the first level, an objective pops up that says, okay, you need to find the entrance to the town, so you need to go find where the town is. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the linear pathways in this game in just a second. But yes, this game is inspired a lot by GoldenEye, and it even has a lot of the same setups as GoldenEye, where you have to go through each level, completing objectives. It's not so much like GoldenEye, where if you play on harder difficulties, you get different objectives. I think it's the same regardless of what difficulty you're playing as. However, this game will not let you complete a mission until you've finished all the objectives. So if you're missing just one objective, you cannot complete the mission. You have to go find out where that objective is, complete it, and then you can finish the mission. Whereas in GoldenEye, you could finish the mission without completing all the objectives or just getting one objective completed, but you'll get that mission failed thing still. So you still failed the mission even though you went to the ending part of the level. So this game does not do that, and I'm glad they didn't do that, because in GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, I think even Time Splitters did the same thing. I would finish a level and I'm like, okay, I didn't actually finish it because I failed that mission. I failed to complete that objective right there. So I'm glad that Medal of Honor did add this into the game. One really cool addition though is when it comes to the cutscenes. It is very much historical footage, historical documents, historical archive information. I really like that they added this into the game, because each mission you start off and you get a briefing. It says what the mission is about, what you're supposed to do, what's going to happen, what you have to save, what you have to find. And then when you complete the mission, all 4 levels, all 3 levels, however many there are, when you complete it, you get a historical footage of World War II, and it basically says this is what happened as a result of the successful mission. And I thought that was a really cool addition, because it really does feel like a history lesson at times. And I know Steven Spielberg was really going for this when he decided to make this game. He wanted to make it as accurate as possible, as historic as possible, and this is definitely one of those moments where it is very accurate, very historic, and I'm really glad that they added it into it, because these videos and this footage actually did help me pass some tests in middle school and high school, believe it or not. Like, we were learning about this stuff at the same time, and I know the teachers were telling me one thing, and then I'm playing the game going, okay, that's what the teacher told us in school. So yes, it did help me get through some tests. Yes, I did study for the test too, I'm just gonna say that. But as I'm going through the test and answering questions, I'm thinking to the game, I'm like, you know what? That's right. This did happen because of that. And I just thought that was a cool addition. It helps people learn about the history of World War II while playing the game at the same time. And this was an addition they had throughout the first 3 games. I want to say Rising Sun did not have any of that. I think that was the Frontline was probably the first or the last game that had that addition to adding any kind of historical footage, because I believe DreamWorks, that was the last game they worked on, if I'm not mistaken. And now we're getting into the more negative slash the things that I really didn't enjoy about the game. One of those being that there is no mini map to guide you on your path on where you're supposed to go. Now, yes, I do not have a problem with it. I can manage it just fine, but for newer players of the series who are used to games now having waypoints and maps and showing you the way to get through the levels, this game did not have that. So you're basically having to go through blindly on a linear path, trying to find your way from point A to point B, just trying to get through the level. So that's something that might be a turnoff for some people, but if you're a fan of these older games like Doom or Duke Nukem or even Perfect Dark, where they really didn't show you where you were supposed to go, you just had to go through it and find your way on your own, then you will enjoy this game. And if you're also a fan of those games, you might enjoy the fact that this game does not have regenerating health. You will need to pick up any and all health items you find, and you really want to be on the lookout for those, because you're going to get shot at a lot in this game. It is very tough, very difficult, and some of the later levels are truly a beast to get through, because you're getting shot at from all kinds of enemies: tanks, machine gun turrets, enemy soldiers, enemy captains, dogs, you name it. Everything is trying to kill you in this game, and it's very tough at times. So I think probably if you're getting hit by a machine gun turret, it's about 6 hits and you're done. Your life meter is done and you got to start back over. I don't remember if there are checkpoints. I think when you find a objective, there is a checkpoint in the level, but I'm remembering differently that there were not checkpoints and you had to start the whole level over from the beginning and go all the way through. So that's why it can really be a pain in the neck to get killed in the middle of the level, because then you have to start it over and do it all over again and try not to get killed. I did that many times. I got killed many times playing this game when I was younger, and I got very frustrated at times. However, there is one good thing. There is invincibility and unlimited ammo, but it comes with another negative. You can only use those codes within levels that you've already completed. So if you've completed the entire game, you can use those cheats to play any level you want. But if you've completed maybe 3 missions and you have 4 or 5 missions left to complete, you cannot use the codes in those missions. You have to complete them first. I think the only ones you can use throughout new levels is the American mode, which the Germans then speak English, which is pretty cool. I like the fact that they added that in there, but I also like the fact that when I played through it, they were speaking German, so it sounded more accurate to me. But going through it with that mode turned on, you can actually hear what they are saying to you instead, which is a cool addition. I really like that they had that in there. And I want to say they did it with Medal of Honor Underground as well. They had that same American mode option in there, but I don't think Frontline had it. I think Frontline, they just automatically made them speaking English, or had the English accents and everything. So it was pretty cool that they added that in there. But as we come to the end of the episode, guys, I want to give my final thoughts on this game as a whole and what I think about it today, and if you should definitely check it out for yourself. So we had the good and the bad, and I don't want that to scare anybody off from the bad things I said about the game. It's not a game-breaking bug or anything like that. It's just definitely not what newer games are like. More modern games have the waypoints and the regenerating health and all that stuff, but this game was classic 90s. You had to find your health packs and everything, so just keep that in mind that going into this game, you will have to find health packs and get your health up that way instead of just waiting for it to regenerate by itself. Also, go into this game with as much patience as possible, because it is very challenging and tough, as I mentioned, and as long as you're patient, you should get through the level and the entire game without any problems at all. I do recommend it for everybody though. Even if you're not a fan of these types of games, definitely check it out, because I know that I have friends that are more modern gamers that are into modern games, but they're also wanting to get back into the classic games that they never got to play when they were younger. So I definitely recommend anybody who has not gotten to play this game but is kind of mildly interested in it, definitely check it out for yourself. You can get this game on the PlayStation 3 for about $5, and you can also get it on the PS Vita, and I think you can copy it to your PSP as well. But a physical edition will probably run you about $10 to $20 at most if you can find it in the store. I know retro prices are going up, and some games are about $300 now, so this is probably not going to be one of those games. I think the most you'll pay is about $20-25. But I am hoping that the new PlayStation Plus service does add this game as one of their PS1 classics, because I will gladly play through this game again on the PS4 and PS5 with trophy support. Yes, I will play it with trophies. I will play the game for the trophies, get that platinum. If they have it, I will definitely go through it. But with that, guys, we've come to the end of the episode, and I want to ask you before we leave, what is your favorite 90s first-person shooter of all time? It can be any game. There is no wrong answers here. Let me know down in the comments below. I would like to thank you again for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed this episode. I always enjoy making these videos because it gives me a chance to revisit the past and introduce these older games to a newer audience who might be interested in trying them out for themselves. But it also gives me a chance to bring back the memories to those older fans who used to play these games back in the 90s and early 2000s, such as myself. But as always, guys, be sure to hit that thumbs up and ring that bell to be notified of when videos go live. Share with your friends and family, and I'll see you next time.